Meeting of Wednesday, February 8th, 2023 to order at 6 p.m. Would you please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Carol, may I have a roll call?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Commissioner Cheryl Bigelow.
Here.
Commissioner Judy Bory.
Here.
Commissioner Terrell Moore.
Here.
Vice Chair Heather Moeller.
Here.
Commissioner D.L. Kine. Here. Chairman Frank Shanebeck.
Here.
Thank you. We have a quorum, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. The Commission at this time may take single action on any or all items as consent agenda items, listed as consent agenda items. Any member of the Commission may remove any item from the consent agenda for discussion and cause a separate vote on the matter later in the agenda. Do I have a motion?
I motion. I'm sorry, I don't know the right verbiage.
Here it is.
Oh, yes. Is this one for
The top one.
the top one? I move that the Parks and Recreation Commission accept the agenda as presented and approve the minutes from the December 7th, 2022 regular meeting.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second that.
Thank you. Carol, may I have a roll call, please?
Yes, sir. Commissioner D.L. Kine. Yes. Commissioner Cheryl Bigelow.
Yes.
Commissioner Judy Bory.
Yes.
Commissioner Terrell Moore.
Yes.
Vice Chair Heather Moeller.
Yes.
Chairman Frank Shanebeck.
Yes.
Thank you. Approval is unanimous.
Do we have to do a separate approval on the minutes? Is that part of the consent agenda, right? That's what I thought. All right, thank you. Okay, at this time, the chair may announce information regarding activities involving park and recreation matters, such as, but not limited to, attendance of commission members at community meetings or events, seminars or conferences or upcoming events or conferences. So I will start at the far right, which would be over here.
Hi,
Judy.
Frank. Hi, Frank. Okay, well, make sure you get tickets for the tribute bands. Those are, really a lot of fun to go to and some great entertainment. And let's see, I'm just trying to think of other things that are going on. Library, of course, is having their lecture series, and so is Superstition Mountain Museum. So there's a lot of stuff going on, along with Park and Rec, just tremendous amount of activities for everybody in the community.
Busy time of the year.
Yep.
Healy?
I committed Heidi to hike Silly Mountain for the first time, so I will update you guys next time. Terrified, but
You'll be fine.
not a very fit person, but
It's okay.
Take it slow.
Right.
Take it slow. Take it easy. It's a lot of fun. We'll go down the other way, Cheryl.
So I went to the Fit Family Bingo Night,
Hey.
and I will say, those staff above and beyond, I'm going to say they're kids because they're a lot younger than me, but they did a fantastic job, and all the littles, had so much fun. It was you guys do a good job.
All right, thanks, Heather.
I did not actually participate in an event other than the My Park, My Gym for January. I didn't do it on the 28th, which was the Trails and Tales, but there was a course set out for there, which is really helpful because this girl has no sense of direction. So, and now I just have one more. So November, December, January, February, and then I get a t-shirt.
All right,
Nice.
there you go. Exer.
It's been a busy month, seeing that, of course, doing the workout over at the MGC, but really focusing more on events that's coming up with Lost Dutchman Marathon, Lost Dutchman Day, and being a part of that. So working out and getting those underhand.
All right. Well, I missed the kite. I was sad to say. How was the wind that day?
Minimal.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, it was second year in a row. So I didn't get to that. I had something else I had to do that day. But I look forward to the Easter egg hunt.
We look forward to having you there.
And this, I promise this year I will not put the eggs against the fence. We'll maintain a 20-foot barrier from the fence. All right, thank you all very much. Director Langenbach, please give your staff report.
Thank you, Chairman Shanebeck. Let's see here. Get a few of these queued up. Let's see what's first. So just wanted to give you an update on the MGC expansion for the administrative staff and recreation storage. So this was kind of their most recent, well, this is the rendering of the addition that Core Construction is who we took to council this week. We presented, and we'll be going back in 2 weeks for their final award of contract from council, but council did not have any concerns. And so just to kind of give you a reminder, so this whole side is all of the offices. We're moving over 7 staff. And then having a little room for growth as well in these buildings. There is some flexibility, so if we need more than the little room of growth, we can do some different things with our conference room and our file room and some different things. So we planned a lot of growth into there. We will have a conference room and a good work area because that is where we do a lot of our print shop and all of that. And then a very huge storage that I'm sure we'll find a way to maximize and finish up. And then as we had shared with you before, we're super excited about our fitness deck. So, I mean, this is a really huge space up here. So it'll be awesome for our fitness classes during good weather, and then the occasional rental or, activity or event out on this patio. So super excited. The idea is that we will, we'll be on the consent agenda 2 weeks from yesterday, so the 21st, and then they'll start ordering all their long lead time items, but you should probably start to see earth moving in that March-April timeframe. And then it is quite a way. So we're still in a world where masonry and steel and all that are, many, many, many months out. So there'll be periods where you might not see a whole lot going on, and then periods where there's a ton going on. The anticipated end of construction is the end of December, and we'd be moving in during the substantial completion, so end of December, early January, and then they will be demoing the old buildings in early February, so we're very excited about that as well.
Party for that?
Yeah, that's what council asked, is if there'd be a,
Pass around a sledgehammer,
yes,
call her a swing.
exactly, yeah. So that's the update on that. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. Whoops, oh yeah, that's right. Okay. And then I want to give you an update on our 2 grants that have definitely taken a lot longer than what we had hoped when we first applied. This is a little pixelated when I blow it up for you. The Superstition Shadows Park grant is the Land, Water, and Conservation Fund grant that is, it's a little over $1 million, oh, there it is, a little over $1 million, and it's a 50-50 match for the city. So that funding source gives us a little over $500,000, and the city matches that amount for the improvements that are happening down here. And so we just kind of did a quick diagram recently for city management, and I wanted to share that with you of kind of what the schedule looks like of where things are slated. The tennis courts, so the tennis team at the high school is currently practicing on the 3 north courts. See if I get my directions straight. And these 3 south courts should be finished by early next week, and so they'll be able to utilize all 6 courts. That is not expected to be completed this Wednesday. Monday is whenever it should be completed. We have already done, so the restroom and our potential pairing that with our south shop break room, we are just in design phase of that right now. So in order to even bring a CXT, we have to do some site drawings. We have to have an architect kind of lay out, civil engineer and all that kind of stuff. So they're working on that. That's what's going to be getting done this year, but the actual amenity will be happening sometime next year, hopefully. These 2 ADA ramps, you can't see this one on this side, but when this was originally designed prior to the new ADA regulations or the updates to the standards, it was in compliance at that time, but whenever the standards were updated, it was no longer in compliance. So when we did our transition plan, this is one of the items on our list that the next time we did a renovation, that we would be looking to make it ADA compliant. What's wrong with this is that it is too big of a slope. It does have railings, which help, but it's still pretty steep to get over this little drainage channel. So at the same time that we are doing the site drawings for this, the architect, J2 Engineering, is who we're working with. They did dog park, Flatiron, a lot of our other stuff. They're working on the design of those ADA ramps to make them compliant. So that's, again, design right now, will likely be constructed in '24. Next year is scheduled our fitness circuit loop, so fitness equipment around this walking path that has been asked for a very long time. The skate park lights were already completed. All the lighting here, if you go out there, it looks amazing. Our guys did that in-house in the actually summer or at the beginning of summer. And then the tennis lights are going to be getting done by this tennis court contractor here next. So in the next week or two, we should be getting those lights in, and those lights will be happening. As a result of our dark sky initiative and trying to be a little more friendly, we were able to reduce the lighting here, or the light fixtures, by almost half, and still have similar lighting to what we have now, and a little bit better directional. So it's going to be a lot better in that regard. They are not technically dark sky compliant. They are just dark sky friendly. So they are, for this round, they are meeting kind of our needs to reduce unnecessary lighting over there. So that should be happening, being done by mid-February, end of February. The parking lot is going to be recoded. This one has not been recoded since we took it back over from the school. It was under their maintenance at the time that it was supposed to be redone. When we took it back over, we added it to our schedule, so that's going to be getting done during spring break. Additionally, currently, I think this week, we are trying to also add the ADA connectivity. So right now, unless you were to, there's no way to walk from this side of the park to this side of the park on an ADA sidewalk. You have to walk through the parking lot. And so there will be a connecting sidewalk that is adjacent now, and that'll get you to both ends of our park. So that's a great improvement. And that is happening also during spring break, or I'm sorry, it's currently taking place right now. And then last but not least is that we will be replacing the skate park fence. Those of you on the commission back around early COVID, one of our in-house projects, we had wanted to replace the fence. It was very costly. And during COVID, when our maintenance guys had a little more time, instead of completely replacing it, we kind of grabbed about 3 to 4 years more of life out of it by doing some in-house welding, replacing some of the pickets, and then painting it ourselves, just to extend it for another 3 to 4 years until we could find a funding source. So we are going to be able to do that project first of next fiscal year as well. So that's the update on Superstition Shadows Park. That one's on a map. Our other big grant that we've shared with you off and on is Silly Mountain. We're seeing light at the end of the tunnel. So this February is when we are scheduled to have the Ramadas getting installed at the end of the month. And then the CXT vault restroom will get installed end of February, beginning of March. So it will be in here very shortly as well. So we're excited to have that addition at the park. And then the last item in that grant is fencing. We're still kind of working on quotes. So we came out a little bit over budget on a couple of the items. So we're trying to find a way to make that whole grant project work. And that completes my report for parks. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer any.
The skate park replacement, fence replacement, that's part of the grant?
Yes.
Okay,
Yep.
excellent. Anybody else have any question?
No.
Well, let's move on to presentation, discussion, and update on upcoming events and activities.
Liz, since you have control, can
Oh,
you
yeah.
minimize?
Actually,
Or
I'm gonna
can you give
bring
it to me? I tried something a little bit new this month. We have been working on presentations in Canva. So I do want to share a few things that aren't in my little presentation is, yes, We are not just in a busy season, we're in the busy first half. So I think I counted up the Saturdays, and we do not have a Saturday free until I think maybe May. So we're busy for a long period of time, and you guys all have cool flyers about all the stuff we have coming up. A few statistics to share with you guys about the MGC membership. These numbers are based on calendar year of 2021 compared to calendar year of 2022. So our MGC memberships are up 32%. Our drop-in numbers, so that's the folks who are just paying for that day, are up 48%, and our facility reservations are up 56%. So those are just kind of the headliners, but statistically across the board, in every statistic that for the Multi-Gen Center, whether it's active memberships or health memberships, they are all up over 20% across the board. So we're pretty excited to be going back up, especially climbing out of that COVID period. So in regards to overall, let me see if I can shrink this. Again, this is trial, so we're gonna just see how this plays out.
This beta version.
Welcome to January and February of 2023. I'm going to give you just a quick snapshot of our programs and events. Some have already happened and some we're getting ready for. So starting off with Marty Miles in concert on January 7th, followed by our next concert was February 4th with the Walkaways. Weather was superb with 185 in attendance. Not like January 14th, which was a little bit chilly, but we showed Monsters, Inc. and we had a very good turnout with 60 people. Moving into the middle of January, we had Friday night bingo at the Multi-Gen Center with a great turnout of 175 people. This is geared towards families and there are no cash prizes. January 21st was the first year that we paired our John Denver concert tribute festival with a Burro Derby. You can see here that Liz, our fearless director, she ran with Harley and she did a fantastic job. This event peaked at about 700 people in attendance. Followed the next weekend with Trails and Tales and our Yappy Hour. This was a day that was for the dogs. We had a lot of happy dog walkers and a lot of happy dogs out at our parks and out at Dutchman Dog Park. Followed up with just last weekend, we had our kite flying event. While we didn't have much wind, we did have lots of families. This was a great event, a great opportunity for us to see some kids out there playing. Not only did we have kites, but we had bubbles and we had frisbees and we had all kinds of field activities for kiddos. We also finished up our co-ed softball tournament with the Misfits winning the co-ed division. Girls on the Run peaked at 13 registered runners. That program does go into the spring. We offered a beginner yoga class at Flatiron Park and saw a dozen new beginners out there. We brought back our indoor rock painting classes. We are partnering with Olivia Stone, who is working on her Girl Scout Gold project to bring a labyrinth to Flatiron Park. We also had some field trips with our kiddos during their winter break. We have lots more to come. Every weekend we are busy with events. Most of you are all very much aware of Lost Dutchman Marathon and Lost Dutchman Days will be coming up. In addition, we're going to be rolling out some new programming in astronomy, tree stewardship, managing diabetes, and we are already starting to work on our summer program. We are super excited for everything that we are able to do and bring to the community, and I will be sure to make sure that you guys have lots of flyers. So if you are interested in volunteering, you can let me know or you can share them with the community. In addition, as I mentioned, Lost Dutchman Days is coming up. Parks and Recreation will be having a float. This year the theme is the Lost Dutchman, so we thought best to feature our Dutchman Dog Park. If you're interested in walking in the parade and have a furry friend that you'd like to bring with you, please reach out and let me know and I will get you all the details. Thank you guys.
Wow.
So easier sometimes to just put it all out there and put some pictures so you guys can kind of see if you weren't able to attend some of our events. And also, Lost Dutchman Marathon is still looking for some volunteers, so if you're not already committed, you can go to their website. But I think most of you are. But if you're not, we have something for you. And even if you're busy on race day, they have volunteer opportunities prior to that as well. So I want to give you guys a little bit of a staff update because we've had some staff changes in parks. Well, we're going to have some staff changes, but Jill Ruat, who is with us for 17 years, she recently resigned and is moving to Illinois to live out the rest of her dream life with her husband and her dog there. So we celebrated her last week. We were very sad to see her go. She was very much part of our programs and our division. But she was very organized and very detailed, and we feel confident that she left a good map for us to follow in her absence. So we are excited about that. The other thing is I'm going to share with you our next video. We are super proud of this individual to be sharing this award with you tonight. Liz is going to pass around a little teaser. I recommend to really pay attention to that first page, and then she has it marked for you to flip to.
We are very excited to share that one of our own, Jody Dutra, was recognized by NRPA. The National Parks and Recreation Association has named Jody as one of the 30 professionals under 30 who are thriving in their respective fields. Nominated by a fellow coworker, Jody is recognized as a person who serves as a champion every day in the Parks and Recreation field. She was chosen from over 100 nominations, and we couldn't agree more. Jody is a recreation assistant focusing mostly in senior services and youth programming, but Jody is very much involved in a lot of aspects of Parks and Recreation. She has been employed for almost 7 years, and just last December, she graduated from Arizona State University with a degree in public service and policies with an emphasis in recreation management. Jody's footprint is all over our programs. She is our princess. She is the heart of senior programs. She is the creative spirit in special events, and her smile is contagious, and so is her optimism. Jody has stepped in to fill in many shoes, most recently helping with the removal of buffalo grass. She is also pushing for national accreditation for our department. There isn't enough time to share all the great work that Jody's done and is doing. Please congratulate Jody on this very impressive recognition.
That we just want to recognize her, and we'll share it on social media. We've already shared, but you'll be in the middle, and they'll come gather right around you.
This would be a great time to have confetti.
It should be right over by.
I see, actually. I'll give it back to you.
Right.
Just hold fast.
Squish in, you guys. A little bit more.
Since you removed your arm, I'll put my arm on.
There you go.
That's more appropriate.
Jody, would you like to say, I hate to put you on the spot, but would you like to say anything? So I just wanted to add that we are really fortunate to have Jody on our team, and she definitely brings a lot of spunk to our group. And you see her cohort back there also in crime. You'll often see them on Instagram doing dances or enjoying way more than it should be allowed pulling buffalo grass. So they've been a great team. But Jody's an awesome person to have in our department. We're super lucky to have her. So thank you, Jody, for representing the city so well, and yourself, obviously.
I definitely had to do that one as a recording because I would have at one point started crying, 'cause that's what she means to me. So that really concludes the majority of my report today, unless you guys have any questions.
Anyone?
Good on the question.
Oh, I do have a question. I noticed that the wellness event was moved from November to February. What was the reason behind that?
So we found that after COVID, we tried to bring it back and it was unsuccessful. We had a lot of vendors who just no longer have the staffing to be able to give a whole day, especially that time of year when it is, holiday season and shopping season. We decided that it would be a nice fitting with the marathon. They host their packet pickup that day. And so their expo had also been dwindling, and they had decided that they weren't going to have an expo anymore. So we filled that gap in. We went back to the basics. So the wellness event, we're starting off small. We limited it to only 25 vendors, and we shortened the time frame so that our vendors wouldn't have to commit to such a long day for staffing. February is National Heart Awareness Month. It's also a way to generate some of those people who might have lost faith in their New Year's resolutions. So maybe this is a way to kind of boost that. And it's also a day where all of our memberships are discounted 15%. So if you guys know of anybody who has talked about it or thought about it, it's a great way to invest in a minimal way to see if you're going to stick with that. So,
Thanks.
Any other questions? Is that?
we are also hiring. So we have our lifeguards are out, our swim instructors are out, all of our rec leaders are out. So we're very excited. We've gotten our initial applications have started coming in, and we're super proud of that number based on the marketing our staff have done. But we need more, and you guys have heard that the last couple of years. So if you see those posts and you can share them, we gave the chamber some flyers. We'll be in the schools. We'll be doing some paid advertising. We'll be out there front and center, but we do have all of those summer positions are open right now.
And we were able to get approval. So there was a big minimum wage increase, which was a little hard to do, but we were able to do a little bit on top of that, and especially for our returners, and to bump up many of the positions within that series, as well as we are bringing back a incentive program again this year. This year it will be focused on for our returners, and then also based on referrals and we'll be paying for people's certification classes, those kinds of things. So again, we're doing kind of a lot of the same things that a lot of cities in the valley are doing to really attract this group of people, because it's a really important part of the summer for kids. So
That officially concludes my report.
Thank you very much. All right, new business, or old business. Let's try the old business first. Next is old business. Director Longenbach, please present what you have for these.
yes, so right now I'm going to bring up Riley King, who's going to present for you the highlights of our strategic plan survey that we did with the community, and then we'll talk when she's done, just to get a little bit of input from you, and also talk about what the next steps are.
Hello, as Liz said, I'm Riley King, our management analyst for Parks and Rec. And this is just a very tiny, brief snapshot of our survey results. If I showed you everything, we'd be here all night, and none of us want to do that. So we are just going to run through it. If you have any questions, feel free to stop me so you don't forget it, or you can ask at the end, either way. So the methods for our survey collection, social media was our biggest one, obviously, Facebook, Instagram. That's where we got most of our people to take the survey from. We did newspaper ads also. In our system, we were able to email blast out our survey so people could go take it. We tried to get people to take it at events. It wasn't as successful as we hoped, as we are busy doing other things. Getting people to take the survey at events wasn't as fruitful as we thought. We also shared it at all of our programs, so anytime we had a program going on, our staff were sharing it. And then at every single park, in every place possible, we had chloroplast signs with our QR code that people could take the survey from. So this is just some demographics. So we had 718 total responses. 65% of those responses were female. And then out of those responses, 82% are full-time residents. 28% of those people have lived in Apache Junction for 2 to 5 years, so that's the biggest year range that we had. And then we had 55% of our households have a child who is 17 or younger living with them. So we do have 55% that have kids in their house. And then 34% of the people who took the survey have a partner or are married. So this graph over here just kind of shows you the breakdown of how many years people have been living in our community. And then this graph down here shows you the age ranges of people living in their household. So 42% have a kid living in their household. 23% have 18 to 24. So they were able to pick every age range in their household, not just this is the age I am.
Have we compared this at all to the demographic statewide or citywide? How does it compare percentage-wise?
So we'll be talking a little bit about that with our next step. So this is really just a quick snapshot of the results, and then we'll get a little bit of feedback from you guys on, but that's a great question and a great thing for our next steps.
Okay, so this question is about a recreation programming. So this is how people would rate the characteristics of our recreation activities. So this green box is excellent, so they think we're great. This purplish blue is good. This yellow is fair. This turquoise is poor. And this orange is unknown, just means they haven't had that experience to be able to rate us. This number right here where it says the percentage next to like our programs and staff are that excellent and good put together, because that's really what we wanted to focus on. So 66% think that our program staff and instructors are excellent or good. 70% think our registration staff and process is good. 70% really enjoy our programs. 64% think our fees are good. And then 72% think our programs are clean and safe. And then this is, again, the tiniest snapshot. This question was, what would you or your family like to see offered by our Parks and Rec department? We went through and I bunched these together by area and then kind of listed some of the different ones. This is not all of them, just some of them. There was lots and lots of answers. So art classes, dance classes, sports. A lot of people would like to see that 12 to 17-year-old sport range. We have a lot of littles. We have adults. We don't have that middle range. Aquatics, there was just some more swim lessons and open swim hours. Fitness was really the fitness for all ages category. We have fitness for adults, but fitness for every age. Pickleball, so everybody would like to see more pickleball times, more pickleball courts, more pickleball everything. Outdoor recreation was hiking, biking, and horseback riding was very popular in this question. And then events, more movies, more concerts, and then more family events.
Riley, on this one, would you say that these were some of the things that were mentioned the most? Is what you
yeah.
put there? Okay.
Yep, so these were mentioned the most often. Were these ones. There's some little snippets here and there, but these were the ones that we saw a trend in. So this is going to be our parks and facilities. So how would you rate your family's experience at the following park amenities or recreation facilities? Again, the same thing, good, excellent, fair, poor, and unknown. The unknown is just they haven't been there, so they don't know how to rate it. I will let you kind of look over these. I'm not going to read each of them to you because there is a lot. But there's another page also, so.
So what's interesting about that is there's enough of the community that doesn't experience sports.
Recreation.
Yep, so there's a bunch of unknown, so like racquetball court is a very, not a lot of people play racquetball, so we
Right.
expect that not a lot of people know how our racquetball courts are. Same with the skate park, not adults, we have some adults, but not a ton of adults skate. So the adults taking the survey probably don't know how our skate park is. So some of these we knew that we were gonna be unknown. Our ramadas are one of the most used amenities at our parks. So of course, that's the least amount. But we did know some of these were gonna be unknown because not everybody is going to use.
Well, maybe
Some of
there's not
these.
that big of a need for some of them then.
Well, I think that the idea is that we would have a well-rounded amenities. So the people who are using them, you know, this is what they feel about them. And yeah, so possibly, but it's important because there's a lot of things that different people want to have.
And it does tell us that we can market, we do a great job marketing our programs. So maybe marketing our facilities and what we do have to offer as
Because
the
maybe
marketing
maybe
coordinator.
people aren't aware of it either.
Yeah, is making sure that people know all of the great amenities that our parks do offer.
Well,
I am gonna skip to the next one because it's the exact same thing with more park amenities, so I want to give you a chance to look at that also. So again, Dutchman Dog Park is fairly new. We just opened it this year, so hopefully we are getting the word out there and more people will know about it. We did start the survey in July, so the dog park was like a couple months open, and it was hot. So I'm not sure how many people were actually at the dog park for that one. And then our multi-gen center had 70% think it's excellent or good, which is great to hear because that is a big amenity that we think is amazing to have. Does anybody have any questions on this one?
Somehow we need to figure out how to get that unknown group, you know, maybe more involved in the events or the facilities or.
Well, I look at pickleball, and I mean, there's people who wouldn't play pickleball no matter what. And yet, it is a growing like wild sport. So I think in some of these, the unknown is gonna stay. You know, we've got to accept that. At the same time, I think the previous section where what people are looking for, one of the things that stuck out to me was horseback riding. Is how does a park and rec set up a horseback riding program? Because there's something that people are looking for that we don't have. I think in a lot of these cases, the people who do go are really like them, and other people just are never gonna care about them, you know, no matter what we put out there.
Example of that, because not everybody has dogs. Like how many, like you wouldn't go to the dog park if you didn't have, I mean, maybe you would, but a lot of people aren't gonna answer that question simply because they're not a dog owner, so.
No, I think in doing the statistics here, what would have been interesting is to see the good and excellent percentages taking the unknown out of the equation.
Stretch it out.
You know, and just what is the percentage of good and excellent, fair and poor, forget unknown, because those people don't rate us anyhow. And just an idea for future looking at that. Thank you.
Okay, so this is the same question, but it's based on our parks and facilities. So this is any park amenity or recreation facility that you would like to see added. So a lot of people just said they would like to see our parks updated. We have great parks, they just want to see some updates. Benches, more shade, some new paint, just update what we have. Pickleball, again, was a big one. More indoor courts, more outdoor courts. Everybody wants pickleball. Outdoor amenities, we had disc golf was one that was mentioned quite a few times. Bigger splash pad was also mentioned quite a few times. And then fishing lake, batting cages, and badminton courts, those ones were also mentioned a little bit, but not as much as disc golf and the splash pad. Outdoor fitness equipment and an outdoor track were mentioned a couple of times. I know the high school has the track, but I don't think it's open to the public, so. And then trails, people want to see more trails, more paths, more bike trails. Our restrooms and drinking fountains were brought up a lot, just updating them. Playgrounds, they would like to see more and improvement to existing ones. And then other amenities that were mentioned a few times: indoor playgrounds, go-kart facility, public garden, a mini golf course.
That'd be cool to have a mini golf course
Yay.
and a go-kart.
So even with the,
Oh, sorry.
oh, no, you're good. With the bike trails, is that possible that we're able to kind of enhance or create bike trails within AJ?
Yeah, so the city actually has a really great, aggressive, active transportation plan. So every single street, as it's getting all the arterials and then the other half streets are part of the active transportation plan. And so when they get updated, they're getting bike lanes. So for example, Lost Dutchman just got updated this last year, and now there are bike lanes all down Lost Dutchman for the length of that whole street. Ironwood has them now, Idaho has them now. So they've definitely been doing that. And then, as you guys all know, we have the CAP trail coming. We have the trail along US 60 that's going to connect to Gold Canyon. So I think we definitely have been hearing that that was a desire and a need, and it's definitely possible.
Good. Okay.
Any other questions on this one? Okay. The final question that I'm going to touch on is our marketing. So how do you find out about information in our about our parks, facility, hours, fees, operations, etc.? So our website was the biggest way that people find out about our programs and events. Facebook was our next big one, the MGC. So they come into our center and they get all of our information. The library does share our program, so we had a small portion. They get it from the library. Our downtown marquee is up there. Friend or family, so word of mouth. We do have some people getting it from that. Google is also a big one, so they Google events in Apache Junction and they find our events. The newspaper, Instagram, and email is not very many people. And then they call us. So 4% just like to call us and ask us questions, and that's how they get their information. So this is going to help our marketing team see where we hit the most people and where we need to be marketing our stuff.
Seems like the library would be the first opportunity there, because
Yeah.
it gets a lot of traffic. It's interesting that only 1% pick up, unless the other side of that is a lot of people who use the library are so active otherwise, as far as the social media, that they don't see that as their first source of information. Social media, or they go to the MGC. And, you know, it doesn't have to be their first source.
We were also shocked by.
And you love to just type in, I mean, it's just, we Google everything in our world now. Somebody asks a question, I just Google it. So,
You can find out anything.
yep.
Right.
So
All right, thanks, Riley.
that is our brief summary. Do you guys have any more questions for me that I can answer for you?
No, I think I'm good.
No, so you're gonna digest all this, of course, and build, you know, put together a plan of what does it mean,
Yep,
right?
so Liz will tell you what our next steps are, and I'm sure you guys will see me again, and I'll show you those.
So just briefly, so Riley has spent a lot of time digesting this current information and trying to put it into, what are some of the highlights, just to give you for now. Carol and Mary in our office also helped to kind of do a little bit of looking through all the data, helping to count up a lot of the different answers. We had a lot of weird answers and interesting answers, but there's a lot of really good trends. And so that's kind of what Riley wanted to share today. But at our next meeting, we will be sharing you'll get a packet of all of the answers, all of the responses, so that you'll be able to see for yourself what seemed to be a trend or what seemed to be popping out at you. As well as there was lots of questions in this survey. So this is only about 6 or 7, well, the demographics plus about 5 or 6 other questions. There's a lot of other questions in there that I think, what are their barriers to participation and all of that. So you'll get to see a little bit of that the next time. The other thing is that we do like your feedback on, maybe we focus on, not so much on the unknown in our data, but can we look at our numbers a little bit differently so that way we can really drill down and see what they mean. So we'd like for you guys just to be thinking a little bit about what Riley has shared today. And then we will be coming back with some recommended goals and different things that we have seen out of the data. We'll be sharing with you all of the other data, and you'll have a chance to take it away, look at it yourselves, look and see if you might see it differently. So again, even today, different people see the data differently. It means we need to get out there more and tell them. It means, to other people that nobody cares about that. Do we even need to have it? And so really looking through some of this to see what that looks like is our next steps. So we'll be dedicating, our next meeting will have a lot more to do with this, and we'll have a lot more data for you to be looking at, as well as some details on what does this mean for our department as we go. We want to kind of start drilling down into all of that, and then putting that into a document that we're going to be able to look at each year as our strategic plan and decide if we're meeting those goals or not. Any thoughts or other things that you're seeing from this that you want us to make sure that we're doing? Again, your comment about comparing that to others.
The demographics of the survey compared to the demographics of the community, because I think that's what we're after, is just Apache Junction. I don't care about the state. But how do those demographics compare to the community? And at the same time, though, the people that take the survey are the people who are involved. Some of the people just don't really care about anything.
And we also shared it out through the chamber, all the nonprofits, all of those different things. And so we probably got some of that, but you're right. The majority of who we're getting it from are the people who already know about us, not necessarily the people who don't know. But, back to the signage that Riley referred to, we had QR codes in parks and all over the place. So even people that maybe don't know about programs, they had another opportunity if they visited in a different way. So it'll be good to kind of see what some of that means. Additionally, we have our national our national survey that the city did, and that the city's been doing every 2 years for the last, I think this is the third or the fourth version of it, so that they compare the benchmarks against the whole nation as well in each of our areas. And so there's a whole section on Parks and Recreation that we'll be sharing that information as well, along with our data, just so that you can kind of see how that overlaps.
Thank you.
I forget, so was this also given to some of the new housing development homes, family people?
We were closed at the time, so the survey had closed before that.
Okay.
That first group got their information.
Okay.
So, yeah.
I didn't know how
But
that
good.
played in, so I was
Yeah,
like, what do those
absolutely.
numbers mean?
And then keep in mind that our strategic plan is going to be this isn't a general plan that we just only look at every 10 years or so. Every year, our commission will look at, there'll be a time of the year that we look at our strategic plan. How have things changed? Is there, when the new development down south happens, how is that going to look different? All the new families, are they going to see things differently than the people who already live here? So it'll be something that will evolve over the years.
Well, then I want to kind of key in on sports, as it's been highlighted, 12 to 17, that 5 years is very important for a lot of children, and to try to keep them busy either through school or other academics. Sports is such a big thing that could happen for them. I think that should be something that we should look at a little harder in the sense of what we can do and trying to come up with a plan for that. So even when we have the new families that move here to Apache Junction, they don't feel there's nothing here and they go out to Mesa or wherever they go.
Right.
Great point.
Yep.
Yeah, and so that'll be part of your guys' process that we'll bring back. And again, as you see all the data, you can also start looking to see, these look like trends or things that we might want to make sure that we're investing in. So one of the last final steps will be establishing our goals and objectives. That'll be part of the new strategic plan. And like I said, we'll bring back something to start with. So it's not like we're reinventing the whole wheel together. Right. That would be hours and hours. And then you guys can kind of respond to that with, oh, yeah, that makes sense, but here's something that I saw that isn't captured in there. Where can we put that in? So that's where you guys are all going to come into play, and we definitely want to hear what you're hearing in the community as well as what we're seeing in these surveys.
All right. Does that finish you off there, Riley?
is it for
Had enough
me.
fun for tonight?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Great job.
Yes, thank you very much. That was nicely presented.
Take me a minute.
Update on community engagement outreach for new housing developments to promote city facilities, programs, and services. Is this yours, Liz, or Jennifer?
Yes, Jamie is going to give a quick, we just have a very small update, but she'll give it a little update on that.
So I think you guys have some stickers or something.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that the city manager's office, those are items that they're working on. Our marketing team put together some Parks and Rec items that will be going out in these bags. We've already put out 200, and we're getting ready for this fiscal year, hopefully soon to take out another 500 welcome bags. So these are all those, this was kind of, maybe it was your idea, Frank, or suggestion,
There were a lot of people
to
involved.
capture these new folks that are moving into our new home developments. And so the city manager's office has kind of taken the lead on it, and now we'll just be getting them items when they run out. And hopefully we'll capture, especially getting ready for the land down south. But we are hitting those newer developments that are popping up before then, so.
Which development? I wasn't aware that there was a completed one. We have a completed one already?
We do, there is,
Well, yeah,
There's several throughout the city in those little pockets. So I think one over by Goldfield and
they've been moving into
Apache
Goldfield
Trail,
for
like
months.
around that area.
Yep.
Yeah, so there's several. And our city manager actually went with Al Bravo, our PIO, and hand-delivered those over to that development and talked
Yeah.
with their folks that are getting people in. So he's definitely really embraced it and made it kind of a goal of the city manager's office to take the lead on this at this point. So it was a great suggestion.
yep, so it's in progress, Frank.
That's wonderful. This really is. It's so good to hear. New business. Liz, can you start us off on this, please?
Yes, so we did receive direction to staff from council last night for us to take a look at our a couple of sections of our city code. And I know I shared this with you guys. Oh, maybe not. Hold on one second. We had talked about that we would be bringing this back. So one of the things when we talked about the Tree City USA program and getting that designation was that in order to do so, one of the requirements is that we had to have an ordinance or some body that was determined through an ordinance of some nature or our city code that is responsible for tree management in all of public spaces. We thought we had to write a whole ordinance, and nobody was really excited about that. But what we learned this last time when they came and presented, and when staff met with the Tree City USA team, they said that we could actually, in our current ordinance, just making sure that that body that is determined to be the managers of trees is listed in our city code. So obviously our maintenance department is the number one group that is handling all the trees in all the anything that is irrigated or landscaped or in our planted in our medians. They are managing that in our parks, in our city spaces. So we have to add that, and it's much simpler to go in and add one line into that. And so what had happened is that as we looked at wanting to add that one item in, we started to look at the rest of our code and to look and see if there were some things that as long as we're going to go to council, we might as well do them all at one time. And so sitting down with Joel Stern, it required a direction to staff from the city council to have the Parks and Recreation Commission review the city code items that we were interested in changing, and then have you guys will ultimately next meeting adopt you guys will vote on what we're going to recommend to the city council. So today I'm just going to kind of go through with you the items that we are definitely changing or that we would like to recommend to change and get your feedback on. And then if there's something else that kind of really stood out at you, we probably have the opportunity to look at that and go from there. So in the Parks and Rec Commission, for a while now, so when I took over, I happened to look at this, and we were trying to look up some information, and we realized that In the officers, it says that we shall elect a secretary every year. Well, we have not had a secretary for any of the years that I've ever been here, even before I was the director. I think because we always had our admin assistant, always, did the minutes and all of that, that never happened. But it's something that probably should come out, because technically we should be electing a secretary every year. Joel said it was a simple change, so we're not going to be in any trouble. But the only change out of the Parks and Recreation Commission that we are recommending is to remove reference to a secretary position. It is not necessary, and so that's one of them. Any questions on that?
Well, is there any consideration, other commissions and boards have a member from outside the city? Is there any?
So actually, the city council brought that up a while back ago, and we did a little bit of research, and typically for a Parks and Recreation department, it is a citizen-based group because of the tax funds that are, so heavily utilized in Parks and Recreation. I think at that time, they briefly brought it up, but then it was determined by the council they wanted to keep ours as strictly citizen-only. And I think that's really
Makes
good.
sense to me,
Yeah.
too. But it's interesting, under Part A, they could actually appoint an ex officio member if they really wanted to from outside the community,
Right.
maybe.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if they ever did that in the past or, what that was like. So definitely very interesting.
Thank you.
Any other questions on this one? Okay, so that's the only change that we are recommending to council on that one, or that we're recommending, that we're recommending to you for your consideration. And again, we will look at other items that you might deem fit, and then next meeting, we'll be bringing these back for you to make an official approval for recommendation to go to council. The next one is in our Parks and Rec Department code. So in this one, the first thing that we need to do is we want to add that it's basically a sentence that is going to share, and I haven't put it in here. Today is really just a discussion so that we could add other things, but we want to put into the powers and duties, adding. So there's a lot about maintaining the parks, and obviously that also means trees, but we're going to specifically put something in here so that way we can go for the Tree City USA designation, which is
Awesome.
simple and easy to do.
Excellent.
So that's the one item that needs to be added. And then the second item that we are addressing is that while we were looking at this, we noticed that, very interesting, an entire section, an entire page actually is dedicated to banner placement and supervision. First of all, we don't have banners anymore. So these used to be the big banners that were on Apache Trail. They were on some big poles, but we're not like a normal downtown that is really small and the banner goes across the street. So it'd be somewhere out in the median. Agencies would have to spend lots of money on this thing and change it year after year. It's very costly. And then it was very costly for public works and parks to put it up. If we had bad wind, it would be destroyed. And it was still very small so that people could barely see it or notice it anyways. So we had moved to the marquee probably 15 years ago, and I guess just nobody remembered that this was in our city code. So we are asking for the entire section to be deleted. One of the council members last night asked whether or not this would prevent us from being able to put up banners elsewhere, and it does not. So Joel has made it very clear that this isn't an exhaustive list of everything that we do or can do. And we really don't want to have things like some of these, the management in the marquee or the management in the multi-gen center, because those things are going to change over time. This is policy in general, and that's kind of what we want to keep it to. So the last recommendation that we have right now is to remove this section.
Do we have, aren't those little small banners that are on the light post or Phelps and, domestic violence or whatever, I'm trying to remember what else we've put up there before, 4th of July.
Yeah, so those are actually done by Public Works. They maintain street banners.
Okay.
And again, it doesn't prevent us from, if we were the ones managing that, it wouldn't prevent us from managing it. This is an entire policy on how to let the public put up a banner, and we don't do that. We don't allow that any longer. So that's kind of what this one is about. But good question. So even if we if we are putting up banners places, we will still be able to. We just won't be doing this whole Apache Trail median banner placement. And you'll have time to look over this. We'll bring back recommendations to the next meeting, and we'll be able to have a discussion. And if at that point in time you're ready to vote on it, we will. If there are other items you want us to consider, then we'll bring it to the next meeting and vote after we have heard what you guys want to say. And then this is a recommendation that goes to City Council. They're certainly welcome to ask for other changes to be made or to tell us no, but they seem to be pretty open to our desire yesterday.
That's because the department's so darn good.
That's right. Let us do what we want.
Okay, that takes us call to the public. Anybody out there wish to speak tonight? Okay, we'll move right on then to call for future agenda items. Anybody here have something they'd like to see on the agenda in the future? Well, sounds like we'll just stay put with what we have going on.
Yeah, so we will definitely be bringing, one of our big items is going to be the strategic plan.
Right.
So that will for sure be on there next time.
Okay, so now we need selection of the next meeting dates, times, and location. The next commission meeting will be held on March 1st, and I need a motion for that, please.
I move that the Parks and Recreation Commission hold a regular meeting on March 1st, 2023 at 6 p.m. in the City Council chambers located at 300 East Superstition Boulevard.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you very much. Carol, may I have a roll call vote?
Yes, sir. Vice Chair Heather Muller,
Yes.
Commissioner D.L. Kine,
Yes.
Commissioner Cheryl Bigelow,
Yes.
Commissioner Judy Bory,
Yes.
Commissioner Terrell Moore,
Yes.
Chairman Frank Shanebeck.
Yes.
Thank you, it's unanimous.
Well, at this time, I adjourn the meeting at 7:02 p.m. Thank you all.